So I am Ravi Gupta. I am the CEO and founder of Elets Technomedia Private Limited. We publish a magazine called eGov for last 16 years, and we are the first and the only magazine in India and whole Asia on e-governance. And we are doing these webinars with the e-governance leaders of the country. And I'm happy to have here with us Dr. Santhosh Babu, who is from the IAS, and he has been the MD of ELCOT, and he has been the Secretary IT of the Tamil Nadu government, and he is right now the MD of the Tamil Nadu Handicrafts department. So I welcome Dr. Santhoshi, and those who are in this field of e-governance would know that he has been a pioneer in e-governance. He has implemented several leading e-governance initiatives in the state of Tamil Nadu, which have been in fact copied and replicated in several other states. So before we go into details, I will request Dr. Santhosh Babu to talk about his journey of e-governance, like where he started, got hooked up on IT, how he started getting hooked up, and how he started implementing, and some of his best practices, case studies he has implemented. Dr. Santhosh, welcome, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Ravi Gupta. Good morning, viewers who are available right now. Happy to know that all of you are staying strong, staying safe, and are at home, spending quality time with the family. Thank you, Dr. Ravi Gupta. I started life in 1995 as an IS probationer in Coimbatore, and some of the NIC officers definitely inspired me. And later on, when I was additional collector at Trivandrum, one Mr. Prasad, who is no more, he's an NIC officer, he actually stirred the concept in me. And later, when I went to Chittoor, which is district in Andhra Pradesh, I saw my batchmate, Mr. Venkateshan, had already installed an ERP-driven government office. So there was a secretary, there was a MD of APTS, I forget his name, is an IS officer. So Sir flew down on my request, and then we made the Tamil Nadu Corporation for Development of Women a completely online organization. So that was a journey which put me on to IT, as it were. And in every government office, I feel very strongly that we need to invest in not only hardware, a lot of software, and a lot of skills for employees, because these are all human resources who needs to be tapped to the maximum. And through the technology base, they can throw up better productivity in office. Generally, you find a government office filled with files. A lot of people are moving here and there, and the productivity is less, and people are not extremely happy with the service that generally government provides. So there are only a couple of things that government does. They provide law and order, and then have policies. Based on the policies, we move files, and based on the files, file movement, services happen. So these are the basic four things that government does. So according to me, all this can become 100% online. Because today technology is much advanced than, let's say, when I was trying to do e-offices in 2000, etc. Today, the bandwidth is very high. The government of India and state governments have invested huge amounts of money in IT infrastructure, connectivity, data centers, state portals, you name it. So, and the Bharat Net is also coming up. The Tamil Net is also coming up. So, connectivity today, if in Corona times we are all able to speak to each other, it's because of technology. It's because of bandwidth. So governments are going to invest a huge amount of time, money and resources in bandwidth. And post-Corona, let me tell you, this is not a prediction, I think common sense, but post-Corona, governments are going to invest huge amounts of money in IT infrastructure as it were. So that's my journey. I've made every office e-enabled. Right now, I'm the CMD, Chairman, Managing Director of the Nadu Handicrafts Development Corporation. It won the National E-Governance Award in 2018, I believe. We completely changed the organization. It's generally a kind of punishment post. But 2014 to 18, I was there, and now I'm back there after Assistant as Principal Secretary IT, Government of Tamil Nadu. And we made all the processes there. You take administration, you take marketing, you take design, you take production. All the four pillars we are completely computerized. And today we are one of the best e-government organizations. So I'm sitting here and clearing files. I allow everybody to clear files from home. So nothing stops me. So that's in a nutshell what I do.
In this age of Corona, there is a lot of talk about work from home. So while work from home is being implemented in several private organizations, but government processes being so complex, it is always thought that it's not easy to implement work from home. It's not easy to automate government department. So you have done it in your department in Handicrafts Development Corporation. So please talk about how you went on doing it. And what were the challenges? What were the BPR issues, business process reengineering issues you had to handle? So if you can elaborate those points, please.
Yeah. Working from home should not happen just because Corona has happened. It should be there in the minds of every administrator and the government even before that. The point I'm trying to say is that if there's a fire in an organization, a government organization, the files will go all up in flames. And it's in these files that your happiness, your sorrow, your future depends. So it's very important that we maintain those files in a very sacrosanct way. So it's very imperative that we don't use the computers as typewriters. So that's the biggest criminal act that you can do. We should be, and these are all computers which have been purchased over a period of time. A lot of money has been invested. We just need to, network it and put an application software. ERPs are available off the shelf. So what we did in Poompuhar, so when I joined, it was 1973, it started Poompuhar, that's Tamil Nadu Handicrafts Development Corporation. It's just another government organization, files thrown here and there, unclean, unkempt. So it was just another organization. So what we did was, we looked at the 4 pillars: administration, production, marketing, production, and design. These are the 4 pillars on which we made the entire organization online. So I was just looking at the presentation. Yeah. So what we did was, the organization didn't even have a website. So we introduced a website. We introduced e-office because we had 24 locations across the country. So let's say my production managers or my manager in Calcutta, if she says, no, this client is asking for a particular Ganesh and you need permission from the CMD, then what happens is they'd send it right to the Tapal, then they send it or courier it, it reaches my office, lie there, then we put a seal on it. The whole process of conveying that production or procurement decision used to take almost 30-40 days. And this is the case in every government organization. So right now we have brought it under a few hours or even a few minutes. That's because we have used ERP across the 24 locations, 15 showrooms, 7 production centers, you name it. All the locations inside India are connected. So a file movement is not an issue. Even now I'm doing file work from home. My officers, my staff, everybody is allowed to clear files from home. So second was e-monitoring. See, we have 24 locations and pilferage was happening. And we used to write off during our annual meetings, etc. In the last 4 years, pilferage is 0 because I put 110 CCTV cameras across India and we'll monitor it in the office times. So pilferage is 0. Then we introduced e-reviews, no physical visits. We used FaceTime. I gave around 25 iPads to all my officers so that we can see how during a last visit, what are the changes that you are asked to be changed in the showroom. Did they do it? So you can see it live. So FaceTime reviews happen. Then accounting, we introduced Tally. Then the showrooms are using paper coupons for billing, etc. We introduced a completely billing online billing method. So and that was the administration side. Then on the marketing side, we introduced Poompuhar.org, which is e-commerce site. Also, we signed up with Flipkart, Amazon, Shop Clues, Craftsville, etc. We also introduced something called artisan.com. So I wanted to put every artisan on the website. Their products, they should be able to take photographs of their products and put it on the website, and they should be able to sell it globally. So tnartisan.com is something which we call as an e-repository of artisans. Basically, the problem with the artisans is they produce beautiful items, but they sell it locally or through my showrooms. So I have 15 showrooms and we do 250 exhibitions. That's all the channel they have. But right now they have a global channel to sell the products. So that's another thing. Then we introduced smartphone app. Then we introduced e-promotions, massive social media we used to promote it. So we took it from some 30 crores of turnover to around 74 crores in 1 year. And then on the design side, we introduced what's called a design research development center based on e-designing and this additive manufacturing, which is basically 3D printing and virtual reality and augmented reality. So we were about to launch our virtual reality, India's first virtual reality handicraft showroom when Corona happened. We were supposed to launch it in the Chennai airport and in one of the malls in Chennai. And we also introduced 17 new production centers for the production. We introduced CNC machines, you name it. It's one organization you would want to visit because it's not just about technology. Let me put a caveat here. Technology is a tool in the hands of a good person. It can be a weapon in the hands of a bad person. Technology per se helps you to assimilate everything on one desktop. So that's the beauty of technology. So today, if you are able to look at Corona worldwide, it's because, the world is connected, as it were, on this web. So I think that's the reason why we should be relying more on technology and investing a lot more on technology and real time. Go ahead.
You have a lot of...
I forgot. So we introduced e-designing also. So generally we used to sell through showrooms. So what we did was we said that we'll embellish your places. So we started embellishing all the airports. So around 8 airports in India, Chennai, Chennai, down south, including in Andhra Pradesh, Tirupati, Trichy, Madurai, Coimbatore, Pondicherry, Salem, all these airports are embellished by us with interiors. That's because we introduced what's called e-designing. We'll design it on the computer and then show it to them, take their approvals, and then they install that design there. So these are the advantages. And so what happens here is that because of all this, a lot of this inventory starts moving. So that's the beauty of it.
Amazing. I don't think that many handicrafts department across India would have gone to this extent of digitization at every stage. I can see that you have a lot of passion about tech, and we all are aware that you are a great techie yourself. So what are your views about usage of emerging technologies for good governance?
Yeah, so that's an interesting question, Ravi, Dr. Ravi. So what we did was, when I was Principal Secretary ITV, the Honorable Chief Minister had made 4 announcements, and these are very significant announcements. One is we introduced what's called the Center for Excellence in Emerging Technologies in TNEJ, Tamil Nadu E-Governance Agency. We have a brilliant IS officer there, Dr. Santhosh Mishra. And so we brought in people with these technology domain expertise from the market, as it were, paid them market salaries, and we still have them, around 8 of them there. And the idea was to have them in the Center of Excellence, and also use startups, because governance has throws up huge problems. So we proactively asking government departments to throw up your problems, and then we give the startups like Forge or IIT, etc., and then come out with the solutions. So that is Center for Excellence in Emerging Technology. Second thing was Honorable Chief Minister announced blockchain backbone for Tamil Nadu at 40 crores rupees. Government orders had issued before I came out. So this is to say that blockchain is. There are many schools of thought which says that it has its flip sides, but we both believe that it's a truth mechanism. And if you want to sell a property, or you want to sell a car, etc., I think Estonia is one country which has demonstrated the massive use of blockchain. And the Gartang, which is the organization which introduced blockchain to Estonia, actually came and met us, and we discussed a lot with them. So blockchain backbone, and there's massive work that's happening of the state family database, which is to say that to declare you as due. The problem is Santhosh Babu can be spelt in 36 different ways in 36 different databases. Me. So what thing is basically say that you have 7 or 8 parameters which we'll fix, and there was a muckle number. My predecessor actually did a wonderful job of making what's called a muckle number, which is something approximating the other numbers, so that you don't need to go into the other database, but you have the muckle number. Around 7 crore muckle numbers has been generated and kept. That was the basic reason why we introduced this. And what we're saying is that we can fix you as you by saying these are the things that your name, your mother's name, your father's name, your address, your email ID, your mobile number, your muckle number, your other number. These are 7 or 8 parameters that we fix, and then other departments can only add to this database. So you can imagine anybody else, with the moment you invoke the muckle number, it throws up a basic database, and into which you can add a number of fields, but you can't create separate Santhosh. So look at state family database. So I'm looking at it as a pyramid. So if you look at this state family database and the blockchain backbone, on top of it comes what we introduced called predictive governance. So this is the premise on which we worked was, if you are a government, if you are a citizen, and entitled to services to the government. And if I'm paid to do that services, why should you ever visit a government office? This is a question that essentially everybody should ask. Why should any citizen visit a government office when we have so much of technology in our hands and through which we can innovate massively? And the second premise on which we are basing ourselves is, if you are a citizen and government knows that you are born on this day and you have to go through these life cycle changes, then why should you ever apply? That is, why should you ever apply for a birth certificate? Why should you ever apply for a community certificate? Why should you apply for your nativity certificate? All this should be delivered to your Makkal vault, that is citizen vault. So citizen number is there, citizen number, citizen vault. And what we wanted to do, and that's the thought process, is we can't go and change the different database or different departments which are created by different vendors with different technologies, etc. But through the API method, open API method, we get into the different databases and ask the softwares can be prompted to do certain works at certain periods of your lifetime. So that's the interesting thought. That's when a child is born, child doesn't have a Makkal number or citizen number. So all we say is that the health department database, the moment they say that this child is born, they're going to introduce a birth certificate. All it says that generate a random Makkal number for this child. This goes and hits the Makkal number database. Next, what you do, you generate a PDF for the birth certificate. You invoke the Makkal number. It will hit the Makkal number database and go and sit in your citizen vault. After 6 months, you say you are eligible for a birth certificate. You are eligible for vaccination. Your child is eligible. The parents should get an SMS saying that your child is now ready for a vaccination. And these are the centers at 0.5 kilometers, 0.6 kilometers, 0.7 kilometers on a Google map. If you have a smartphone, or even in a feature phone, we can give you all those things saying that you need to go here. And when the vaccination is done, when they invoke the Makkal number on the vaccine certificate, it will go hit your Makkal number database and go and hit the Makkal vault. Similarly, as you go through the life cycle, let's say when you are 25 years of age, wherever any department invokes a Makkal number on their software, which has been suitably modified by us, it will go and hit the Makkal number database and go to the citizen vault. So at, let's say 25 years of age, you have around 100 certificates or documents in your Makkal vault. Then what happens is that you want to apply for a job in an NGO or government in a private sector. Then they will want to look at your certificates. All you need to give is a permission to see 3 of the 100 certificates, and it will come as certified by government of Tamil Nadu. So that is a whole thought process behind that. So this emerging technologies is going to be extremely useful. For example, look at drones. One of my friends, Agnishwaran, who runs the Agni College, they're using the drones to help the Chennai police to monitor the compliance with quarantine, compliance with lockout right now. So drones can be used. Drones can also be used. You look at Wockhardt Hospital in Bombay. Around 40 nurses and 3-4 doctors have been declared as COVID positive. Now we need to provide them food. We need to provide them PPEs. We need to provide them ventilators. But these drones can be used to deliver those items there. So it can be used for delivery. It can be used for monitoring. You look at the n number of things that technology can use. Big data. So I was looking at 2-3 organizations which are currently using all this data. One is called Blue Dot, it's a startup in Canada. And Blue Dot, what it does is it predicts outbreaks. Now, what it does is it looks at all the different unstructured data that's coming out of newspapers, new media channels, you name it, all of them, and then they kind of arrive at certain predictions based on the data that they have. They look at, I think they work with around 100 data sets, and they get kind of this. And then there's another organization called Vision, which is based in China, which actually used, what happens is that you need to undergo an X-ray or an MRI scan of your lungs, because your lungs are going to be affected by COVID. So what happens is, a radiologist has to actually look at it and say, yeah, this is bad, this is good, or this is moderate, etc. Now, radiologist time. So whenever you go to a list center or a lab, what they say is the radiologist will come and sign and give it. That happens 24 hours later. We don't have time. The basic problem today is that of speed. We need to actually screen hundreds and thousands of patients and say either positive or negative. So what they've done in Vision in China is, what they've done is they've created an algorithm which will look at these MRIs and say that this is okay, this is not okay, this is okay, this is not okay. And then it allows a subset of the 100 or 200 or 1,000 that they have screened to say that now this needs to be actually verified with a human person, radiologist, etc. So it reduces the time, one. It increases the mass scaling that we need to have, and also reduces the number of people we need to actually monitor. Then there's Alibaba, which has actually gone into diagnostic tools. they have invested massively. So one of the reasons possibly, and we don't know what is happening in Wuhan or China, one of the biggest things that's happening is they've been able to contain it in Wuhan. And there are different conspiracy theories, etc., which people bandy about. But my own personal feeling is that they have used technology massively to contain it. And then there is a deep mind of Google. Actually, they are helping different pharmaceutical agencies to arrive at drugs. They're looking at protein structure of coronavirus and saying, okay, this is a model that can be adopted for a drug, etc. And then there's healthmap.org. HealthMap, what it does is it predicts based on unstructured data, again, like blue dot tests. So my own personal feeling is, post-corona, possibly this should happen on the edges of the WHO or the UN. We should have something called a GITMOSIS, a Global Infectious Diseases Monitoring System, which means that every public health authority feeds into this data on a real-time basis whenever it happens. So if you are able to contain Ebola, let's say in Sierra Leone, that's because I think they were able to identify it, geographically in a GI system, etc. But today we have a system where people are flying in, flying out. So can your database also integrate your flight details, how many people are moving out from which country to which country, etc., etc. So there's a lot of generational, inter-institutional cooperation that has happened, inter-country cooperation that has happened to come out with a global infectious diseases monitoring system, which is real-time and which is event-based. The event-based monitoring is more. That's going to take. That'll be less predictable. That'll be what is it called? Whereas if we have databases being one common database across the world, built, your countries are no longer your enemies. Your institutions and all. We are fighting against unknown viruses, unknown bacteria, etc. So the whole world has to look at this pandemic as an opportunity to come together and look at the real enemy. Sorry, I'm a bit compulsive speaker, so I keep on speaking.
No, but you gave some solid points and very new ideas, which I don't think has been yet even thought in India, not even implemented, of course. You are in a way talking about bringing the health data and aligning it with the overall other data collections which are happening and linking it with our data and right.
Exactly.
So there is a
Go ahead.
Please.
Go ahead. Please. Sorry. No. What I was feeling is the startups of the world are working with very unstructured data. So government should be able to give data very proactively and provide them the data so that they can come out with very quick solutions. And these are young boys and girls, brilliant young boys and girls who will come out with any number of solutions. And all they need is scale up, market. That's the kind of thing, on some support monetarily, etc. But ideas galore. I was just chairing one of the Ideathon, which is the Fight COVID Ideathon, which around 5,000 participants were there. It was amazing to see the brilliance of these young minds. The only problem they have is they have an idea. They need to prototype it. And they can prototype that also, but the basic problem is one of market. So what if I invest a few lakhs here and then nothing happens of it? We need to somehow kind of compensate for failures and support them if it's going gay. Some angel investor will come and help them if it's doing well. But if failures happen, I think we need to support these youngsters because they should not feel, because they are the future. They're the people who are going to say yes, tell governments of the world that this is possibly the best solution, because they go into these problems very threadbare. Unlike IAS officers, we sit in one room and think that this is a problem, this is a solution. It should not be like that. I think it should be more dependent on youngsters who are out there passionate.
As you mentioned about that, there are startups which can use these data, health data, socio-economic data, and do some modeling, do some predictive governance work in terms of predicting the health disasters, health epidemics, etc. The basic question which always emerges is the issue of open data. You are aware that for more than a decade, uh, Ministry of IT, NIC, Department of Science and Technology, PIO. All these organizations have been promoting this concept of open data,
Yeah.
but it has not yet like taken off in this
Okay.
even
Okay.
after a
Let me
decade.
answer. Yeah.
Why
Let
is
me
that?
answer that. Let me answer that. So open data. So
Yeah.
Tamil Nadu is one of the states which has done it well. Alcott has developed a site called, I think, open data, data.tn.gov.in. And the only problem with that, which I found, is that data relates to something like 2013. So every department data is there, agriculture is there, health industry, everything is there. But 2013, 14, the point is, as soon as these databases get populated, I think that should get reflected in this particular website. That does not happen because there's no API connection. So we were last time when we discussed that, we decided that we'll have an API route for all these databases into this particular database, so that databases are openly available as and when it's entered. So somebody enters it, let's say in a village or a district, that is, data should actually be available in this open data.tn.gov.in. Unfortunately, that's not so. I think possibly going forward, and this is a very proactive thing that government of Tamil Nadu has done, which is to make the data, whatever is available, to make it open. But I think this is the next step that's needed. That is to make this data live, and wherever somebody clicks some data, it comes into this database. Whatever is possible to give. And I don't think, and we should be encouraging this as governments. You know, government has been very chary about giving data, etc. But I don't think anything has happened post giving this data. Data will be used, misused, abused, and even without your knowledge, data is being taken out. So why not give it legally so that people can work on it? Yeah.
Santoshi, one more question, which is a bit of a different question than we have been talking. Just before we started this panel here online, we were like having a chat and we discussed that we met each other like around 15 years back when
That's right.
e-governance was just starting in the country. The national e-governance plan was being framed by the Ministry of IT, and the states were like starting to look into it and adopt it. Now, after like 15, 16 years, I'm asking you a very reflective question that how do you see the e-governance journey in the country? How much India has progressed overall in 15, 16 years in e-governance? And how do you see the next 5 to 10 years, like a decade? Like how will e-governance transform? So I'm asking about the past 15 years and the next 5 to 10 years, if you can answer that.
See, the problem with one of the problems with e-governance is there are e-savvy people and not so e-savvy people. So there are two sets in this whole game. According to me, IT has to be mandated by government. It should not be said that okay, this you can use, thou shall use should be the dictum. Unfortunately, that's not there. But let's see, last 2000 to 2020, massive developments have happened, and I've been a close watcher of this. The National E-Governance Plan and today Digital India has completely transformed the way governments work. But at the same time, let me say, and a lot of IT infrastructure has been in place, the state portal, the state data centers, the SWAN, state wide area networks, the SSDGs, and all those things have been in place. And I was there when it was put in place in Tamil Nadu at least. Now I find that these technologies have all moved away. For example, a state data center is a massive thing. And today we have something called a hyper-converged technology, and that will also move in a few years. But I think we need to proactively move with new technologies so that there's less consumption of energy, there's more bandwidth available, etc. The Digital India concept brought in the idea of the dashboards. This is something which the state, the CM's dashboards and PM's dashboards and all those things help us in, especially in these kinds of emergencies. So if you look at digital infrastructure that has been set up, it's been, I would say, satisfactory, not entirely satisfactory. I would say we need to move with the times, because on software we are very good, but on hardware I think we take a long time to actually change from one hardware to the next. We need to move with the times. What the US is using, what Taiwan is using, what other countries are using, Estonia is using. That's the kind of hardware that we need to put in place. NIC. The NEG, National, the Department of IT, etc., put in massive efforts to do this. So I think the IT infrastructure is there. A lot of websites have been developed A lot of applications have been developed. But you look at the citizen. The citizen has to look at 101 URLs. So we need to move on with this idea of single sign-on. Citizens should be able to sign on with government on one site, and they should be able to get into any department. For that, we need to massively bring in a re-engineering in e-governance itself, because I feel the emerging technologies have a lot to do, and today India can take advantage of it because lots of our engineers are working in all these sunrise industries in emerging technologies. We can bring them back and ask them to work in blockchain or AI or ML or VR or AR. Teaching technologies are changing. Today, all the Kendriya Vidyalayas are online today, thanks to technology. And BharatNet, and in Tamil Nadu we are bringing something called TamilNet also. This bringing the bridging the bandwidth gap, as it were. So massive things have happened. I'm extremely happy with it. But if you ask me, there has to be a mandating of e-governance. Because I realized Government of India has introduced e-office everywhere. But one of the officers was telling me, if unless post, I will not use it. So it should not be like that. There should be only one method. When we introduced e-billing in the railways, did we have separate physical billing also? It would have collapsed. Today, railways is a huge success, and IRCTC is doing so well because it's gone completely online. We can't have two different methods. So when I introduced the e-governance, e-office Geo in Tamil Nadu in 2019, my expectation was that from the Panchayat office right up to the Honorable Chief Minister's office, everybody works seamlessly on the e-office. But it's very slow to take off. We have to, speak with stakeholders. A lot of stakeholders are there, different departments are there, different agencies are there, different HODs are there. So that challenge is there. But my personal feeling is that governments have to mandate from now onwards at least, because this is the challenge. And Mantralaya, when there was fire in Mantralaya in Maharashtra, that was a challenge. Lots of files were lost. To say that, everything can be done on IT today. Everything. There's nothing that except, the frontline workers in health and police. Frontline workers, doctors, nurses, paramedical staff, they cannot work from home. They have to be the physical person. The police personnel can actually work from home or from office. Traffic can be maintained remotely. So wherever possible, but this requires huge investment as a percentage of GDP. I don't know how much we can invest, but I think the price we are paying currently for not investing in so much in that is something as a yardstick we can use. So the things which we could have done otherwise at this current point, if you are much more prepared. But having said that, my own personal feeling is it has been a great transformation from 1995 onwards. Since I've been there, I'm finding governments in India and the state governments are extremely proactive. They all want to do the e-route. My only request would be to mandate that, saying that thou shalt work only like this and not like this, and generate data and use this data to predict, and this is going to throw up a huge amount of data. We could place IoT devices here, there, everywhere, do a lot of remote monitoring, and use it for these kinds of emergencies where we cannot move out of our homes, where we cannot move out of our offices. We are in lockdown, but we are not locked up. So today technology is enabling us that and allowing us that.
You talked about the huge investments in the data infrastructure which has happened, IT infrastructure by the governments. How do you see the in the last 15-16 years, the citizen services have improved from a citizen perspective, not from the government?
So that's one of the interesting things. So common service centers were set up right now. The citizen has to go to the common service center and spend some time. So essentially, there's because technology has improved so much. My personal feeling is that citizens should be able to transact from home. Whoever is able to transact from home should be able to do that. Whoever is not able to transact from home, common service center is useful. Now the point is that we should be able to come to a stage where they need not even come to the common service center. They should be able to. A government should not be seen. Government should be felt, and that will happen when citizens should. The only interface between government and citizen is the desktop or the laptop, and the internet is the only interface. Then for routine things, why people should keep coming? For my grievance redressal, why should anybody come to my office? For a routine file movement, why should anybody come to my government office? So all these things, finally, for a citizen, that movement of the file, the speed of movement of the file is proportional to the speed of movement of their grievance redressal or their citizen service delivery. So unless the files move, and we are not globally, we are not moving files online. So that should be actually mandated. But having said that, lots of services have become, you look at land records, you look at grievance redressal, you look at many of the services that have gone online, especially in Tamil Nadu. It's massive. We have around 153 services which are online. My point is very simple. There's no point doing e-governance if it's not end-to-end. That is, you do only 70% IT and then 30% people have to come and do or put a signature, etc. I think that's not the optimal solution. I think citizens, you, me, the ministers, the chief minister, the prime minister, the president of America, all have only one resource which is in common. It's not water, it's not air, it's not anything else. It's a 24-hour capsule, right? So it's that 24 hours that gives us the happiness, the joys of the world. And we have no business, telling a citizen, you wait outside while we do our work. It has to be so simple for them that they feel it's so hassle-free. It can be done. It can be done today. It could have been done many years back also. But having said that, let's think post-corona, how we can invest more in these technologies, proactively engage in allowing citizens their time, not wasting their time. Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Dr. Santhosh, thanks for answering both the government progress in e-governance and the citizen perspective from e-governance. Now the third angle, which is relevant with the corona angle, the investment of IT for the health ecosystem has been perhaps one of the lowest compared to any other sectors. So how do you see that IT can help in the health sector and help in predicting and stopping the spread of diseases like corona?
Yeah. So I will look at it this way. In this corona has made two things happen. One is medical and one is non-medical. The non-medical is, people have difficulty purchasing things. So one of the simple things that we have done in our apartment complex, we are around 608 families. Our association said, okay, people can go out and purchase. Now, let's assume that all 600 come out, then will be a problem. So we introduced a Google form. We introduced a single Google form, and Tamil Nadu Horticulture Development Agency is delivering those items at its homes. So nobody is stepping out. The vegetables, family fruit pack, a family vegetable pack. Similarly, most of the stuff that a home requires to go through a lockdown can be delivered at home without people stepping out. Now, a lot of youngsters, a lot of startups are already working on this, trying to get a list of all the kirana shops around, getting the inventory in as it were. Then people can do it through an app, etc. So these are ideas which we can do. Essentials. People need not move out. How do you maintain social distancing? Then lots of people are actually wanting to move from let's say Tanjavur to Chennai because parents are in a bad condition now. So we can introduce e-passes. I think the Tamil Nadu e-governance agency has already developed an e-pass. Then you need to know where these masks, sanitizers, and PPEs, etc. are available. Soap is available. We need to know where it is available. Instead of going from one shop to another, we need to know that. So that's where IT can come in. Then education, as in this particular times, children cannot be kept on continue to make them play. They also need to study. So e-education can happen. Then new skills can be developed. Fitness can happen thanks to apps like Healthify Me, etc. Startups can have a lot of work. Government per se can use technology for tracing and tracking of positive cases and their contacts, which already Tamil Nadu government is doing. Cluster analysis and monitoring. How do you do containment measures? How do you, let's assume that one complex has an issue, a corona positive case. Then how do you contain the people there? At the same time, how do you deliver? How do you keep in touch with them? A lot of technology can come in. How do you inventorize how do you manage the inventory for medical equipments, hospital beds? How do you ensure compliance of quarantine? One of the best examples is using drones to ensure that people don't come out. And if somebody comes out, an alert can go to the police station saying that in this particular area, a few people have come out. And then SMSs can go to those persons saying that these are your areas, people are coming out, please stay indoors, otherwise we'll be forced to take action on you. How do you ensure essential commodity movement? You need to have rice. The government of Tamil Nadu has done a fantastic job of ensuring that all the ration shops. That's because in the last 4-5 years, we have invested heavily in the PDS system. It's a universal PDS, as you know, in Tamil Nadu. And a fantastic work has happened. Some of the IAS colleagues have done a humongous amount of work putting in a system where at the shop level itself, we have e-POS system, POS system. People can buy from there, etc. And a huge database happening. So we know who was lifted, who was not lifted. Somebody can say that, no, I don't want rice for the next 1 month. I need to rice. So I need rice in another district. That's also possible today. So then supply chain monitoring of medicines and medical equipments. This is a huge area. Again, we don't know which all medical surgical shops have masks, which have sanitizers, which have PPEs, etc. So all this has to go into global database, as it were, by compulsory method of registering. Because, today we are trying to look around who is the manufacturer of masks. Somebody will say it's manufactured here. Somebody will say it's manufactured there. Why should somebody say? Why can't we get to know proactively that this is manufactured here? Like, for my handicrafts, I know exactly where my bronze is manufactured, where my wooden things are manufactured, where my pot is manufactured, terracotta is manufactured. We need to know clusters, and we need to know how many are there. Like, for the example, Tamil Nadu, the Medical Supplies Corporation is probably one of the most studied corporation in India. It has depots across the state and taluks. And when the, let's say, Crossin or paracetamol, the numbers come down, the head office knows that this particular taluk office depot has only so many left, and they proactively supply it. So this is the massive use of technology. But these are things on which software is. But use emerging technologies on top as a layer, on top of this as a layer. And what you get is judgment, or let's say decision points where we need to intervene. For example, this company that I was talking about was just Blue Dot, which is a Canadian startup. What it does is it says that at this point in time, in this country, in this particular place, an infectious disease is likely to break out. So an outbreak can be predicted. So today we have lots of epidemiologists sitting there. I think the epidemiologists and the startups need to work together to arrive at what I call as a GITMOSIS, a global infectious disease monitoring system, which can be done at a UN level or a WHO level. And not only the unstructured data, the structured data of governments should also be proactively fed in, as and when a small outbreak happens. For example, I was looking at the Blue Dot website. They are even looking at animals. Is there an outbreak of disease in animals? Veterinary services are up to the mark, etc., etc. So, and flight details, train details, all kinds of things which they possibly can get their hand on data on. They've been able to do it. But I think it's time governments also proactively supply data, and we come out with solutions which help us, kind of attack these kind of things rather than be defensive about it. So it gives us time. Data gives us an advance notice. It gives us preparedness. So the other example which you can see is the global weather monitoring. And, global weather monitoring, if something happens, and El Nino happens in the Pacific Ocean, we in South India face it. Monsoon happens because of that. So globally, we are affected by the weather. I think today infectious diseases are also global. Because of globalization, people are moving in and out. We are shaking hands with people we don't know. We are hugging people we have never met before. So it's possible that, even a pandemic like this can be globally monitored. And it's happening. It's not as if it's not happening, but possibly, structured data needs to go from governments as well.
Excellent. So, Dr. Santhosh, we have lots of questions on the screen. Are you able to see the questions by any chance?
One second.
Just like go to the bottom of your laptop, there is an option for
I say participants,
and there is an option for chat. So So if you can
I can
select.
So there are lots of questions here. Let me 1 second. Oh my God, this is massive.
But
can anybody provide the open data website details? So it's one is data.tn.gov.in. I think is the data I think I'm not able to remember it. Otherwise, you can go online and see it. Just type open data government of Tamil Nadu, you'll get it. Second is must get a physical fitness certificate from the concerned country, embassy, that the person traveling is fit, that he or she is free from infection, etc. Yeah, this can be done. This can be actually done. That's why I'm saying that, in China, what they do is they actually take them to five-star hotels because all the top floors have been converted into isolation wards. And then they either give a certificate saying that this person is without COVID or with COVID, etc. Then how many are currently attending? Raise your hand. We can really watch the dialogue. Correct. Put your questions to Santhosh. Data privacy issues. Yeah. So data privacy issue has been it's been there since computers came in. So the problem with everybody is talks about data privacy. I'm a bit intrigued and amused about this. That the moment you have a smartphone, there's nothing called data privacy. I mean, but you need to build in. Currently, Government of Tamil Nadu, we have issued government orders last year, at least keeping the cyberspace of Government of Tamil Nadu safe by saying you create what's called CSA-TN, a cyber security architecture for TN. And by July 2020, we were supposed to come out with 4 deliverables. One was a cyber security CERT-TN, Cyber Emergency Response Team for Tamil Nadu. A SAF-TN, a SOC-TN, a Cyber Security Operations Center for TN. SAF-TN, a Security Architecture Framework for TN, which is a document. And a CCTM, which is a cyber security headed by the Chief Secretary, which is again for cyber security. But at the same time, when you are collecting data, obviously these data privacy issues will crop up. There's a very thin line. I think that's why I say technology is a double-edged weapon. In the right hands, it can be put to use. In the wrong hands, it can be used as a weapon. But having said that, I think currently, whatever privacy is on, many of us are not terribly affected. But of course, fake news happens. A lot of talk about by the Supreme Court, and the High Court of Tamil Nadu has also intervened to see how fake news can be prevented, etc. How is contact tracing being carried out in TN currently? I think they have created a database. They have got the mobile numbers of people. They're tracking using the GPS. So that's how they are doing it. What are the crowdsourcing initiatives in this government? I don't know, because I'm slightly outside IT right now. I'm sure the IT department is using crowdsourcing technologies. So that's what, totally agree. Digital has to be mandated in government departments. Much like how the lockdown is mandated. Somebody has written, yes. Kriba Shankar has written, Kriba is one of my good friends. Yeah, I think that's the thing. That is the end all and be all of IT. It has to be mandated. Ajib Balan, Santhosh, you nailed the issue. The digital shift has to be mandated. So a lot of people are agreeing with me. Any suggestions? There are many platforms through which online education is possible. Populaces include this loop. So to the list of desktop and laptop, should the phone not be added? Obviously, that's why I'm saying, see, today the mobile phone is like a factory. Nobody is realizing that you are carrying a factory in your hand. It can do massive amounts of things, but not many people understand its value. But yeah, the mobile phone is the last mile connectivity. It's not the laptop, or it can because you have to boot the laptop, you have to wait for it to open, etc. But whereas phones are available and 5G is coming through fast, so I think that will be the last mile. So is any application of e-governance to stop the crowding of people in the market? So I'm simply saying this. So in my complex, we have 608 families. Through a single Google form, we ensure that everybody puts. So we have said the vegetable family pack will be A, B, and C. A will be for a family of 3. B will be for a family of A will be for a family of 7. B will be for a family of 5, and C will be for a family of 3. So we have said that all the these are the proteins and nutrients that you need, and we have come out with a set of vegetables that we need. And parallelly, we also said these are the fruits we need, A, B, and C. And today, 102 families have applied online. Within a few seconds, we have also transferred it to the horticulture department. It's getting delivered right now at our doorsteps. There's no physical, just deliver it and people pay online. So similar thing can be done at the market or kirana shop level. Is it not possible to inventorize all the kirana shops, let's say in 10 square kilometers here, and get all of them to feed in the data, what are the products they're having, and then you can have an app and you say that you buy it and somebody can deliver it. I mean, it's very simplistically said, but it's possible. And you can also have what is called slots at the market level. Let's say 10 people or 15 people in the half an hour slot, first half hour, second half hour, third half hour, fourth half hour. So you can slot it and then go and purchase it if you need to. My point is that you don't even need to go out. My point is a lockdown is a lockdown is a lockdown. You should not go out. This is being a doctor, I can tell you, this is the best solution to break the chain. Nothing else will. Now, let's assume that you break the chain or you want to go and buy something. What is the surety that the person who is handing over is not infected or is not a carrier? There's absolutely no way of knowing this. And then you come back, you still think that you don't have a problem because you're healthy, etc. But you might be actually handing it over to another person. So the best thing is, as you say, to remain at home. And we should use technology massively to ensure that all the essentials. So I was having something here where, one second. Where is that? Yeah. So all the essential items, all the masks, all the hand sanitizers, everything that can be provided should be provided, and so that family can stay at home. What are the positive developments due to Corona? Stay home, So this is the beauty of we have to take it positively only. Lots of people are suffering. Migrants are walking thousands of kilometers, hundreds of kilometers. I think it's incumbent on us to ensure that they get a shelter, they get some food. I think state of Tamil Nadu is doing a fantastic job in helping our migrants. They are our brothers and sisters. The point is they come from a different state, so they are our guests. We need to take care of them. Having said that, at home, there's a massive amount of things that you can do. I mean, everybody says read books and play with your musical instrument. In effect, spend time with family. There's nothing like the family. Generally people say that it's so difficult to sit with the wife, start fighting, etc. But that's not truth. Actually, you are spending very few hours with the family when you're working. It's the most beautiful time to spend time with the family. There's such a lot of things that you can do. See, for example, I started cooking. I never done cooking in my life, but I started cooking. I became an expert. And again, technology has come useful. YouTube was there. My wife was actually working. She's a doc. She's in hospital. So these are things that, necessity is the mother of invention. And, you can bang around with your guitar if you have a musical instrument, make a lot of noise with that. Nobody's going to say no. So a lot of stuff that you can do. And at the same time, I'm also doing something very interesting for the Corona right now. I'll be able to let you know tomorrow after discussing with my team. That'll come out in maybe a couple of days. It's something which will be impacting a lot of us, if not everybody. So a lot of stuff. For example, I was the jury chairman for this the Ideathon, the National Ideathon by Forge. And it was amazing to see how entire Ideathon of 5,000 participants is done online. So, the best thing is to actually have a lot of sleep. So those are the things. So, a lot of startups come up with ventilator projects. So one of the interesting projects I saw that was a central point where you have, a radiating kind of drum, and which gives the ventilator support to 10 or 15 beds around and that middle point. Very interesting idea. So these are things that we can think about, but again, it requires a lot of prototyping. It requires to be in a lab. It requires testing, etc. And let's say 15 people are around that ventilator. So there's a multi-level ventilator, multiple ventilators in one. From one ventilator, you ventilate 15, 20 patients. The problem is oxygen saturation requirement for each patient is different. So that has to be measured. You need an IoT device there somewhere in his near his nostril. You need to measure that, and then give the right amount of oxygen to that person. So any number of innovations are possible today. Please advise on the post-corona plans, laboratory, etc., etc., etc. 621 positive cases. Yeah. Government, I'm not part of this effort, but government of Tamil Nadu is doing a massive amount of work in containing this. Currently, the health secretary and the health minister, they talked about, when people come even to my home today to check up anybody is having fever. It's an amazing work. Although I personally feel that a lot of technology can be used again in all this. So how can people without smartphones, needful can be delivered? So even feature phones have the ability to provide certain things, certain programs which can be delivered. And I think it can be done. But I have seen people say it's only 30% of the population in Tamil Nadu with smartphones. I believe that it's much higher. A lot of people are watching YouTube. A lot of people are watching Facebook Live, etc. So lots of people have the smartphones. At least one home has a smartphone. So let's say we have 7 crore population, but the number of families will be 2 crores. There should be at least 2 crores smartphones in Tamil Nadu at least. So that's my assessment. Your suggestion to help farmers sell their produce in times like this. In the agriculture department, I was also associated with the create something called AgriSnet. Mr. Gagandeep Singh Bedi is the agriculture secretary, principal secretary IT. They've done something called Udavan app. So that's an app meant for farmers. Farmers can sit at home and say, okay, in this particular shop, this particular pesticide or insecticide is available, and this quantity is available. If the quantity is not enough, you can go and find out which is the next shop in which you can buy. So the Udavan app. Then for the police, they have something called a Kavalan. So a lot of technology is being used, and I believe now that we need to integrate all this. We need not wait for an emergency like this. We need to invest heavily in technology. We need to come together. All the brilliant minds out there should think in terms of our society. See, today, all your money, if you're a billionaire, millionaire, nothing is going to help you. I've seen a particular video where an Italian billionaire, because all his family members died of this thing, he jumped from the top. So money is not the essence here. We live actually not for ourselves. We live for others. So if you look at 90% of your time, of your waking time, 90% of time you're actually spending for others. Do it with a lot of heart, do it with a lot of elan, and ensure that others get benefit out of what you're doing. So I think that should be the spirit in which we all should work post-corona at least, because there's nothing of the self. The self is the Maya. You don't do anything for yourself. All the things that you're doing is for somebody else. Incidentally, you get a salary, or incidentally, you get an incentive. But the smile on the face of the person that you're serving is priceless. So I keep saying the lower level, the saloon person does not cut his own hair. He cuts somebody's hair and gets a lot of happiness out of it. The dentist doesn't pluck his own tooth. He plucks somebody else's tooth and gets a lot of happiness out of it. These fees that they get is very, very, very incidental. But the kind of work that you can deliver through world-class thinking, top-level thought process, reading a lot, understanding a lot, trying to understand what the problems of society are. How do we invest our heart, mind, lungs, liver, everything into it? I think that should be the essence post-corona. I think I have answered a lot of questions. Thank you. Should I? A lot more than.
If you want to answer one last one.
Geospatial. Yeah, geospatial technology. Yeah, geospatial technology is particularly very important today. I think we should invest heavily in that. I have used geospatial technology a lot in agriculture when I was in horticulture. I feel that all these technologies should become big time in governance and in the private sector. Yes, Ravi, I think you wanted to ask something.
No. I was like saying that if you want to take one more question, one or two more questions, we still have 2 minutes or 3 minutes. So if you can look at the questions and if you want to answer any of them.
Okay. So telehealth consultation has become regular. So this Apollo Hospital, there's one doctor called Dr. Ganapati. They have been doing this for a long time. Their only constraint was bandwidth, and today bandwidth is not an issue. And with BharatNet and Tamil Nadu coming up, this is massive. And so something on very close to my heart. I'll be coming out with something very shortly. My team is working on it. So telemedicine is something which we would propose, and we should be able to create virtual clinics across the country, so that anybody can just log in and say, okay, where is I have this problem. The problem today is most of the patients are normal, but because they Google up their problems, they find, so there's a lot of psychological impact of even corona, even other diseases. Everybody reads it. The doctor has nothing else to say. Even prescriptions, people question. So we can reduce all that by actually having virtual clinics. This is something which I'm also working on.
Excellent. So I think you have answered lots of questions and in a record time, I suppose. And I think the audience would know that in last 1 hour, so much experience, so much knowledge, both from the IT sector and the health sector has been delivered to us in a very, very crisp manner. So hats off to.
So I have one tagline for the Corona. For Corona, I call it social distancing, digital proximity.
Wow, that's interesting. So right now we are distant from each other, and we are we have proximity on digital. One last thing, Dr. Santhosh, Babu, you have seen eGov magazine and Elets for last 16 years. Your impressions about our work, what we are doing?
Yeah, I'm not a very regular reader though, but I keep reading once in a while. Very well brought out. I think your editorial gives the essence of what is covered in that. A lot of innovation. So my only thing is that we need to give a lot of importance to innovations happening here and there. Innovations doesn't happen across. It's done by a few individuals here and there. For example, I have around 250 plus innovations. I have never been featured on e-governance magazine. So these small snippets of innovations which happen here and there should also be captured. And there are a lot of these startups coming out with brilliant innovations. I think that you're capturing a lot. I think e-governance magazines should be compulsorily read by government servants. And I personally feel that you should come out with an app also, an e-governance magazine app, which helps, because today nobody wants to touch anything. I don't want to touch a newspaper. I don't want to touch a milk packet. I mean, milk cannot come virtually, but at least newspapers can be virtual. Your e-gov magazine virtual. You have done a fantastic job in the last so many years. You have conducted ever so many programs. I have been a participant in the Apollo Health program at Hyderabad many years back, where we casually met. So now I think your magazine will become a kind of tech leader, and I want you to become a tech leader. I want you to come to every state and participate with that state, the IT department of that state, in bringing in the thought processes that are extant in the Western world. Whatever is the best happening in, let's say, anywhere, I think we should get here. We should also feature the best innovation from a government servant. It can be anybody. It can be a peon. It can be anybody. These will enable people to think in those lines. The problem with governance is that every person is not equally motivated to use IT. But once it starts becoming mainstream through magazines like yours, I think it will be only a question of time before we go completely digital.
Great. With this, I again thank Dr. Santhosh, Babu, for 1 hour highly interactive and highly knowledge session. I think I learned a lot personally today. So thank you again. Thank you so much.
I should thank Dr. Ravi for giving me this opportunity. He has been a long-time friend. He's an amazing person. He has taken this organization to a very high level from where it was a fledgling organization today. I wish you and your team and Gopi and others, Vivek and others, all the very best. God bless. Stay safe. Social distancing, digital proximity. If this is a mantra, we can break the chain.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Namaskar.